My name is Rudy Johnson. I'm a Nigerian. I'm studying in Ukraine.
Okay, tell us about your journey from Ukraine down to Berlin here. How was it?
Well, it was full of so many miseries on the way, especially in that morning, the very 24th. In the morning, the early hours, we had multiple bomb blasts. So we already left our homes, not even having our bags. Like myself, I couldn't even get anything. The clothes you see me putting on now is just what I came out with. So we left. We went to the train station. We're trying to get to Lviv, where we could get to the Poland border. So when we got there, they told us the tickets for Lviv was over. So we went to the bus station. The Ukrainians there, right in Kiev in the bus station there, in Voxana, they were only giving tickets to the Ukrainian citizens. The blacks there, they never allowed them to have any access to the tickets. So they didn't allow us to get the bus going to Lviv. So we had to book a taxi, and we spent about 13,000 hryvnias to get us to Lviv. When we got to Lviv, we went to the train station there. They told us that there was no train going to Poland. So we took a taxi again, going to the Poland border. We didn't move so much. Then we met cars. The driver said it's not going anymore, that the hold-up is too much. He just pointed and said it's not far. Could you believe that when we got down, we paid him, we got down thinking that it's a very near place. We got down, we trekked for 8 hours. 8 fucking hours. Our legs were worn out. When we got to the Poland border, we met a lot of people there, Ukrainians, all sort of people, the blacks, everybody there. When we got there, we queued on the line. But to our greatest surprise, those of us that were blacks that were in front before we got to that place that actually got to, because you have to cross the Ukrainian side of the border before you cross over to the Polish side. So they were turning them back. They were turning the blacks back. Then when we asked them, they said they were not allowing blacks to pass, that it's only the Ukrainian citizens, their wives, their children, that they were allowing to pass, that they will get to our turn. We waited there all through the day. Going to the night, we slept outside in the cold all through the night. The next morning we queued up again to no avail. We stayed there for good 3 days. Good 3 days, fucking cold. They were passing the Ukrainians, but they never allowed any black to cross over. So we left there with anger. They told us to go back to the train station, that they have a free train going to Poland. So we left there. We trekked again for like 20-something kilometers before we got a good Samaritan that took us to Lviv train station in Foxal there. When we got there, they said the train was about 1 p.m. The train is going to move at 1 p.m. We got there around 12:30. When the train actually came, we were trying to get into the train. The same problem. They pushed us aside. They only allowed their citizens to go. We stayed in that train station for good 3 days again. All through the night, trains come going to Poland every 2 hours. We will go and try. They will not allow us to enter. That some of us received various degree of injury from their police. So when we tried and tried, there was no way to get into the train to go to Poland. We now took a taxi from there to the Slovakian border. So it's from the Slovakian border that we now left to Slovakia. Then from there, we came to Germany. It was not really easy. It was not really easy. The cold was just fucking too much for us. We were all sleeping outside day in, day out for almost 7 days. We were trying to get to Poland. We couldn't. So it was through the Slovakian side of the border that we could be able to get out of Ukraine and also move to Germany. So that's just what happened. That's it. And when we came to Germany, actually today, we are faced somewhere we're staying for the meantime.
How did you manage to locate these Africans here that are helping out?
Someone told us about them. Someone that actually know about them. So they gave us the address. We were able to come around. So actually, it was a warm reception for us, and they're actually doing good.
Have they fixed you into a place already?
Yes, we already live in somewhere.
So, do you still know people in Ukraine that are still stuck to Africans?
Yeah, there are many of them. There are many of them. There are many of them. Many of them in Sumy, some are in Mariupol, many of them. Some are even in Kiev. They couldn't make it to live.
So you know people personally? And
Yes.
Are you still reaching out to them on phone?
Yeah, we reach out to them on phone. And some group chats also. Some are still there. In Telegram groups, some are still there. They're still there.
And what message you want to leave to the world from the kind of racism you experience out there?
Well, I think the word should be for everybody, not for the whites or the blacks alone. We should, in terms of situations like this, we should forget about the color, because we're all suffering the same thing. If a bomb is thrown here now, it's not going to select color. So since the bomb is not going to look at the color it's going to kill, then why are we going to allow some set of people or some kind of color to have an advantage when we're all running for our lives? We all have this in life. When the corona came, the corona killed blacks, it killed whites, and it's still killing till today. It's not looking at who is a white and who is a black. So we're in the same problem, so we shouldn't be segregating. The kind of neglect we had, I've never seen it in my life before, and I don't hope to see it again, because it's not really good for us. It's not really good for the world. We claim to be one world, we claim to be the same all over the world, but when it comes to certain things, you see that the blacks are actually not being given the fair treatment they're supposed to have. So that's the problem. I think something should be done all over the world to bring the blacks to have at least an equal status with the whites. That's what I think.
We heard the Nigerian government evacuating some students from Ukraine.
Yeah.
And there's some other video that came out today about some other students that are stuck.
Yeah.
What would you want to say to the Nigerian government?
Well, the Nigerian government, being what they are, I don't actually know what they mean by evacuation, because in Romania they brought only one plane to pick people from there. And I know we have thousands of Nigerians out there in Romania, and I don't think they're going to take another plane there. If you want to evacuate people, is it the only one plane that you're going to use to evacuate thousands of people? So that's one question I want them to answer.
And especially Nigerians are very, very religious people.
Yes.
And we have a lot of religious leaders with private planes. And
yes, that's what I'm saying. So if you want to evacuate people, you should do something that at least is reasonable. Not bringing one plane to a country and you said you want to evacuate people when maybe you pick 200 passengers and they go. What about the rest? So that is what we're talking about. So when they're talking about evacuation, I don't think they're serious about it. They're just trying to do something so that people will feel that they're doing something, but they're doing nothing. They're not really evacuating people. That's what I understand.
I want to say thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much.